more often.
This is the CBS Evening News. Connie Chung reporting. Good evening. Hurricane Jerry is teaming up tonight with the highest tides of the year and bearing down rapidly on the Texas-Louisiana coast. Authorities in Galveston, Texas are warning residents to be prepared for high winds, surges, and numerous tornadoes. Thousands are being told to board up their houses and evacuate. Warnings are posted from Freeport, Texas to Intracoastal City, Louisiana. CBS News correspondent Bob McNamara is in Cameron, Louisiana tonight with more on those who find themselves in the path of Hurricane Jerry.
Cameron, Louisiana's big boats were first to seek safer havens. The captains of the tenders servicing Louisiana's offshore oil rigs heading early today for Lake Charles, 20 miles inland.
As of 10:15, we have issued an evacuation for Lower Cameron Parish.
At Cameron Parish Civil Defense, the upgrading of Jerry to a hurricane prompted the order to evacuate by nightfall.
You're taking it seriously?
Yes, sir. It could affect us, any time. Within the next 24 hours, it could be a major threat to us and flood us and everything else.
While priests and preachers were asked to cut services short today, babies with bears and mothers with babies joined the bourgeois packing even Christmas presents to leave town.
I'd much rather get out while it's safe than stay here and be sorry about it. It's just one of those things, you just take what you can and leave the rest behind.
Offshore oil rigs here were evacuated yesterday, and today as helicopters fled the approaching storm inland and car ferries jammed with loads of refugees, the Navy that fishes the Gulf for red snapper and shrimp was already battened down.
Well, you got to get out of their way. They're dangers.
They're kind of scary. If you're in one, yeah. I'm in one, man. They're scary.
But the scared here still seem as numerous as the skeptical who've run from storms before.
Last year, how many times we go up there for nothing? Back and forth, all summer last year. I'm going to sit and wait a little bit longer this time.
But after loping for days across the Gulf, Jerry's tides are rising, and its winds are building. And for many, this is no place to be tonight. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Cameron, Louisiana.
It's been 3 weeks since Hurricane Hugo hit Puerto Rico, and we found that depending on where you go there, you will find a completely different story.
The leaders of the community are together, working hard. Industry is recuperating very fast. Tourism is recuperating very fast. And there's no reason why we shouldn't continue with the momentum.
And if you live in San Juan, that's what you see, momentum. Almost a month after Hugo slammed into Puerto Rico, you'd hardly know a hurricane struck the city. The beaches are beautiful, cruise ships are back, tourists are everywhere. But a mere 30 miles outside of San Juan, it's a very different story. 1 month later, Luisa, like dozens of other towns, is still without electricity. Water was just turned on last week. 80% of the town's houses were damaged, and rebuilding hasn't begun on even one of them.
The lack of electricity, the lack of water, the lack of transport systems early on hampered a lot of the relief efforts because you couldn't get to the places that you're normally available to get to.
Places like the one Eliseo Prevera and his family live in. During the hurricane, the Prevera family went to a cave on their farm and watched in horror as their home was blown away. Now they live in the cave full-time.
We lost most of our livestock. I didn't think it would be so bad.
He showed us a field where his 5-acre crop of bananas was completely washed away. Losses to farmers like the Preveras amount to more than $150 million.
I would imagine it's going to take a number of years before people will begin to feel normal in terms of their living situation.
The Preveras know it will take time. Right now they are worrying about how to pay rent for their land, when aid will arrive so they can rebuild their house and stop living in the cave.
I'm afraid in the cave at night, but we're lucky that God let us live and gave us a cave to turn to.
For now, officials are counting on that spirit to pull the hard-hit parts of Puerto Rico through the tough times ahead.
There are many other things which are still here, and the special thing that is still here is the spirit of the Puerto Rican people, and we will continue to work and do more every day.
Coming up on the CBS Evening News, the Fed takes action to head off a stock market crash. And later, did someone say deal? Yes, it was South Dakota.
Nearly 1/3 of the smoke detectors in American homes are not working because of dead or missing batteries. In a fire, they'd be worthless. That's why First Alert created the new light test smoke detector. No smoke detector you can buy is easier to test. You don't even have to stand up. Just wave a flashlight at the gold button, and you know it's working. The new light test smoke detector. Only First Alert gives you this extra protection.
I got just two things to say about this cereal. Boring. It's too simple. These days you gotta add oats or straw or hay or something. This is nothing but flakes. All right, the taste is good. I'm kind of shocked that something this simple tastes this good. You know, I think your simplicity angle will work after all. This cereal might just make it.
Kellogg's Corn Flakes.
Corn Flakes? Hey, can I pick a winner or what?
Taste them again for the first time.
How's Mama doing? She okay?
It's almost over. Your chance to get 1 free month of long distance from U.S. Sprint. To get yours, call Sprint now. Don't miss the one offer that's got everyone talking.
To my beautiful wife.
It's nice to know he still loves the way you look. And if you wear dentures, you can count on Effordent to freshen up dentures and clean away stains so well. With Effordent, all he'll notice is you.
South Africa's white minority government today freed 8 black activists who spent a combined 185 years in prison. But the most prominent prisoner of all stayed put. Richard Wagner reports.
8 old men made history in South Africa today. 7 had been political prisoners for more than a quarter of a century until internal and international pressure forced this nation's apartheid government to set them free this morning. There was joy in this nation's racially segregated townships.
Ooh, I'm very happy. I'm very, very, very happy.
The most prominent of those released today is 76-year-old Walter Sisulu, a major figure in the outlawed African National Congress. He was greeted, as were all the released prisoners, by people not yet born when they were locked away. One of the first things Sisulu did was speak with his exiled son.
But can you recognize the voice? Oh.
He could and did.
Yes, of course.
There could have been few happier homes in the world this morning than Walter Sisulu's humble dwelling in Soweto.
You went to jail and made a big noise.
Sisulu was asked if during his 25 years behind bars, he ever lost hope.
No, never. It was not possible to despair because the spirit of the people outside was too great, and therefore that gave me confidence.
80-year-old Oscar Impeta, South Africa's oldest political prisoner, rolled to freedom today in a wheelchair. He had a leg amputated while in custody. Tonight, despite their release, the men remain defiant.
If the government does not meet our demands, we have no alternative but to continue to fight for our freedom.
The world's most famous political prisoner, Nelson Mandela, was not released today, although it was revealed the government consulted with him before freeing his colleagues. So influential is Mandela, there's wide belief here that until he gains his freedom, there can be no resolution in South Africa to the overwhelming problem of apartheid. Richard Wagner, CBS News, Johannesburg.
When you get a cold or an allergy,
you need some herbal tea.
You also get a lot of advice.
What you want to do is feed a cold.
A lot of advice.
Take Judy to call me in the morning.
But the best advice is what doctors have said millions of times. Take Dimetap. Dimetap in non-prescription formulas brings proven relief. So take the advice of doctors and pharmacists.
The tea worked. Huh?
And take Dimetap. The best advice you can take.
Got a flat tire. Now my stomach's on fire. My day. My Lanta, too.
Introducing Mylanta 2 Roll Packs for double strength acid relief wherever you are.
Because my life takes my Lanta, too.
When you've got hemorrhoids, walking is hard. Sitting, worse. Anusol has an anesthetic for the pain and itch of hemorrhoids. Prep H doesn't. Anusol has an anesthetic to. to take the hurt out of hemorrhoids.
there's a motor oil that advertises world-class protection. Impressive. But Valvoline is recommended by name in the owner's manuals of these world-class cars. The other motor oil is not. Whatever you drive, Valvoline makes the highest quality motor oil recommended by any car manufacturer. Around the world, people who know use Valvoline.
The government tried to reassure investors today in the wake of Friday's Wall Street plunge, and traders worried about the future are looking overseas for some indication of what tomorrow might bring. CBS News business correspondent Ray Brady has our report.
It's a tiny stock market, but it was one of the few open that an anxious world could watch. And in Israel today, stock prices fell 7%, roughly the same level as the big drop in New York on Friday. While Wall Street itself was quiet today, many fingers are crossed.
I think you've got a very worrisome week in front of you, but not frightening and not terrifying.
Trying to keep investors calm, the Federal Reserve Board announced it will pump money into the system if necessary. In the great 1987 crash, tight funds added to the wave of selling.
I think our obligation is to assure that we've got plenty of liquidity, that the clearing mechanism works well.
Veteran Wall Streeters, however, worry about the impact of program trading. It's still allowed. Computers switching billions of dollars rapidly between markets, making money for the owners, but causing stock prices to gyrate wildly up or down.
The market's dominated by program traders, and for them, the market early this week will be a piece of cake.
Many Wall Streeters will be staying up late tonight to see how stock prices move in Tokyo as a clue to what may happen here. For now, though, the belief is New York will open down tomorrow morning, though some think prices could steady later in the day. Connie?
Thank you, Ray. Joining us now is the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, John Phelan. Mr. Phelan, thank you for being with us. Will we see another Black Monday as we did in '87 tomorrow?
Connie, I certainly hope not. I think a lot of things are different. The economy is certainly in better shape. Interest rates are not having the same problems they were in '87. There are a whole bunch of technical reasons why we would hope that that would not happen.
But all the safeguards are not in place. Our Ray Brady just reported that program trading is still in effect.
Well, the program trading, really, there are several kinds of program trading. The one that I think that everybody refers to is the arbitrage between the futures market and the equities market, and that is still in effect. Although there are some circuit breakers in place, and they were kicked off on Friday, that do in fact slow that down once the market goes down 100 points, 150 points or more. So we're hoping that with those in place, with people using prudence in the marketplace, and people learning from their experience of '87, which basically said that panic selling did not pay off, that tomorrow morning will not be like October of '87.
Wouldn't you agree, though, that London and Tokyo can't ignore what happened to us on Friday?
No, I think all the markets are linked together. Certainly the international markets are linked together by cash flow. But I would be amazed if tomorrow morning you would see the Japanese market have a severe sell-off as we had here on Friday.
Thank you so much, Mr. Phelan, for being with us.
Thank you.
And Ray Brady, it is significant, isn't it, that the chairman of the New York Stock Exchange is joining us here on a Sunday? Well, yes. And making himself available to many other news organizations as well.
Yeah, well, I think absolutely. I think you can see that the New York Stock Exchange and the government are trying to calm the people down. The Federal Reserve letting it be known they were going to pump money into the system, and now John Phelan, as you say, working on a Sunday to try to reassure people. So they are going all out to try to prevent another big plunge tomorrow.
Tell me, what is the best case scenario? We know what the worst could possibly be.
The best case scenario is that the market maybe opens down 50 or 60 points, and then people say, okay, look, this is not too bad. We've washed out a lot of the excesses in the system. Maybe we should start buying again. There is a lot of money around, and it could move into the market. That is the best case scenario. The worst case scenario you can imagine for yourself.
All right. Thank you, Ray Brady. We'll be back with more news in a moment.
Subaru would like to apologize to the residents of Casa Grande, Arizona, where we drove the all-new Subaru Legacy at speeds averaging 138 miles per hour, 24 hours a day for over 60,000 miles. That's about 2.5 times around the world.
until we set a new world speed endurance record. If you're listening, Casa Grande, thank you.
After you've produced the yearly report in record time and made color part of your winning proposal, you'll know why Canon is the most popular copier in America. From personal to color laser copying, the choice is Canon.
It was Dean Witter's personal philosophy of success.
We have a sacred trust to protect our customers.
But its impact was felt on California Street,
To maintain conservative policies.
on Lincoln Street, and Acorn Street.
To put the interest of our clients first.
Dean Witter put principles before profit, people before portfolios. There are many ways to measure success on Wall Street.
We measure success one investor at a time.
Dean Witter, a member of the Sears Financial Network.
In the mountains of Colombia, they celebrate the land for creating the richest coffee in the world. New Maxwell House Colombian Supreme Coffee. Regular, decaffeinated, or instant. 100% Colombian richness in every drop.
Relatives of a Swedish diplomat who saved thousands of Jews during World War II arrived tonight in Moscow. Their mission? To solve the mystery over the disappearance of Raoul Wallenberg, last seen in occupied Budapest in 1945 in Soviet custody. Barry Peterson reports.
They arrived tonight with hope and, they said, with new information for their meetings with the KGB to prove that Raoul Wallenberg is not dead.
There are other prisoners who have survived 45 years. Yes. So it's absolutely not out of the question that he is alive.
It was Budapest, 1944. The Nazis herding Jews into railroad cars. Wallenberg, a Swedish diplomat, was trying to rescue Jews at the suggestion of the Americans. He invented a Schutzpass which claimed the bearer was under the protection of the Swedish king. He would march to the trains demanding that Jews holding his make-believe passes be released, saving hundreds at a time with this magnificent bluff.
And if you could just get to Wallenberg, we had a chance for life. He was our only chance.
Wallenberg vanished when Budapest fell to the Russians. He was taken into the custody of Stalin's army and never heard from again. The Soviet story has changed several times. First, that he was under their protection. Then, that they knew nothing about him. Finally, that he died of a heart attack in 1947 at the prison in KGB headquarters here in downtown Moscow. That version was announced in the late 1950s, and almost immediately, survivors of Stalin's prison camps came forward to say it wasn't true. Now, in the growing campaign to deal with the abuses of the Stalin era, the new Soviet leadership is showing a sudden willingness to answer the question of Wallenberg's fate. On a late-night talk show, they raised the extraordinary possibility that Wallenberg might still be alive. If you've seen this man, let us know. In Budapest, they know the horrible fate of so many of World War II's victims, but not of Raoul Wallenberg. There is a statue in the place where he was last seen. They pray every year on the anniversary of his disappearance. And there is hope now that they might soon know what happened to the man who was a savior to so many. Barry Peterson, CBS News, Moscow.
Anglican Church envoy Terry Waite spent his 1,000th day in captivity today somewhere in Lebanon. Church officials said they've been told by Iranian sources that Waite is alive. Waite was trying to negotiate a hostage release when he was kidnapped in Beirut in January of 1987. South Korea's president is flying to Washington tonight. This week, he'll meet with President Bush and address Congress, where calls are growing for phasing out U.S. forces in South Korea. More from Pentagon correspondent David Martin.
There are 43,000 American servicemen in South Korea, a U.S. commitment which dates back to the Korean War, a commitment President Bush reaffirmed as recently as last February in Seoul.
As president, I am committed to maintaining American forces in Korea, and I am committed to support our mutual defense treaty.
South Korean President Roh Tae-woo wants those American troops to stay right where they are, across the demilitarized zone from the North Korean Army. But the commander of those troops, General Louis Menetre, has been quoted as saying that if South Korea continues to build up its own forces, there will be no military need for those troops by the mid-1990s. Members of Congress say the time is fast approaching when the U.S. should begin withdrawing forces from South Korea.
I think we've got to decide that we're going to have a mutual, phased-in, gradual reduction of our forces in Korea.
But North Korea remains a formidable military threat, the 7th largest army in the world.
North Korea has now, it's estimated, perhaps 1 million armed forces, many of them deployed forward toward the demilitarized zone in positions where they could attack South Korea with minimal notice.
No one doubts the North Korean threat, but members of Congress are asking why the U.S. has to spend $2.5 billion a year to defend against that threat if South Korea can afford to do it alone.
There's a great deal of resentment that comes from the fact that we have helped Korea onto their feet, that they have this absolutely booming economy. They've got much greater economic strength and much greater population in the north, and we still have 45,000 troops there.
Administration officials insist there are no plans to withdraw U.S. forces from South Korea. But at the same time, they acknowledge some change in the American military presence there is inevitable. There's no longer a question of if, but when and how much. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
El Salvador's right-wing government and leftist rebels hold peace talks tomorrow in Costa Rica. The government wants an immediate ceasefire, but the rebels insist political reforms must come first. A new case today of possible espionage involving American military personnel. Military officials questioned a U.S. airman detained yesterday in West Berlin as he met with 2 Soviet Army officers. The officers had asked him to provide classified information.
Bran muffins have more fiber than almost anything. Except prunes. Prunes, the high-fiber fruit.
Come on, Tyler. Hurry up, boy. Come on, Tyler.
When it's cold and rough outside,
Come on, Tyler.
try something warm and creamy inside. Cream of wheat hot cereal or instant mix and eat. Their smooth texture always lets the taste come through.
Again?
2 warm ways to come in from the cold.
Denture wearers, here's some show-stopping news. This new Polident helps you fight tartar. Its new super strength now controls ugly tartar for an even better clean. Try my new super strength Polident. Controls tartar for a super clean.
Hey, Radio Shack's having a great sale.
Everyone's having a sale.
Oh yeah, listen to this. Radio Shack's $49.95 microcassette recorder's just $33.88. A 1995 AM/FM pocket radio now only $10.88. And over $100 savings on an AM/FM stereo cassette car radio. Even an AM/FM clock radio with cassette for only $59.95. Ellen?
Keep talking, I'm listening.
Check your Sunday paper for Radio Shack's spectacular fall sale supplement. Or pick one up today at Radio Shack, the technology store.
Nancy Reagan says it is true an astrologer did help determine President Reagan's White House schedule. In a very frank interview with CBS News correspondent Mike Wallace, the former First Lady acknowledges for the first time the key role played by her astrologer Joan Quigley.
I'm told by somebody senior in the White House that the president's news conference was never scheduled without her input saying...
She would pick out dates that were good or bad. For trips, if he were going, say, to Chicago, and I would say to her, gee, is it better if he leaves in the morning or the afternoon? Or maybe the night before. And she'd tell me, I didn't see anything wrong with that.
and the same was true with news conferences.
Same thing, yeah.
In that exclusive interview with Mike Wallace, Nancy Reagan also had a lot to say about the men who surrounded her husband at the White House. And you can see it all later tonight on 60 Minutes here on CBS. South Dakota is about to allow a new kind of gambling. And if the state plays its cards right, it could make a good deal of money. Ron Allen explains.
High-tech video gambling arrives in South Dakota this week, the fourth state to allow betting on electronic card games that have become so popular in casinos, they are threatening to render the traditional one-armed bandits obsolete.
Where the others, you just pull the handles
and whatever comes, comes. Here you pick the cards you're going to hold, and it makes it more interesting.
States such as South Dakota are betting video gambling will pay off big as a new revenue source. That's what happened in nearby Montana. Business is booming for manufacturers of the games who've come up with a politically savvy marketing strategy.
It's a way to raise money from voluntary sources without taxes, and the public is sick and tired of paying taxes.
That's why some lawmakers in Oregon want to fund higher education and mass transit programs by legalizing video gambling. They've already discovered the hard way through law enforcement that illegal video gambling is a lucrative industry.
It's a $100 million business. And we think if the state wants to control that business, the state could probably generate $30, $40, $50 million a year.
But opponents argue that money could come at the expense of compulsive gamblers such as this woman, who says she lost $40,000 playing black market video poker in Oregon.
All I thought about in the morning is, where will I get money today to gamble with?
And in a state that already has a lottery and recently legalized betting on professional football games, some lawmakers want to avoid using more gambling as a way to balance the budget.
Let's turn over government to a giant slot machine and let everybody come in and just sort of say, here, put you 50 cents in here if you want to fund roads, 50 cents in here if you want to fund heart transplants, 50 cents in here if you want to do this sort of thing. I don't think that's the right way to do this.
Regardless of whether Oregon decides to enter the computer gambling age, the industry is betting heavily that the new generation of adult video games will become a major revenue source for states across the country. Ron Allen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And finally, updating our top story. Hurricane Jerry is bearing down on the Gulf Coast of Texas and Louisiana tonight, packing winds of up to 85 miles an hour. At last report, the eye of the storm was about 35 miles south of Galveston, and it was moving northward at 13 miles an hour. Hurricane Jerry could make landfall in the Galveston area later this evening. Officials are warning residents to prepare for heavy rain, strong wind, and storm surges, and many were getting ready to head for shelters or higher ground. Hurricane warnings are posted tonight from just east of Freeport, Texas, to Intracoastal City, Louisiana. And that's our news. Dan Rather will be here tomorrow night. And later tonight, be sure to join Bill Plant with the CBS Sunday Night News. I'm Connie Chung in New York. I'll see you again next week on Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 Central. Thank you for joining us and for all of us at CBS News. Good night.
Tomorrow on CBS This Morning, Life Magazine's look back at the 80s, plus actor Kevin Dillon on CBS This Morning. This is CBS.